"Mommy, I don't know what is happening to me. I am still very hungry," Nolan said, pressing her stomach and groaning loudly. Her mother turned sharply, her wrapper tied firmly around her waist, her eyes filled with both anger and pity. "Have you seen what you have done to yourself?" "I told you. How many times have I warned you? Stop washing plates at night. Every day, instead of washing the plates early in the evening, you will be lying down lazily, or going up and down, or pressing your phone in your hand, scrolling through TikTok and Facebook. Now look at you." Nolan moaned again, her hands trembling. She had just finished her 5th plate of food that night. Rice and stew, big portions, one after another, but her hunger refused to stop. Her stomach rumbled as if it was empty, her lips were dry, and her eyes looked restless. Her mother continued. She raised her hands and shouted, "This girl! You want to kill me! You want to finish me! Didn't I warn you? I told you before, when you wash plates at night, you are washing away the food you ate and feeding it to spirits. They will not only take your food, they will take your strength, your peace, and everything." At this moment, Nolan exploded. "I'm frustration." She rolled her eyes and hissed, "Mummy, please, let me hear word." All these superstitious beliefs again. "I am just hungry like a normal person. There's nothing more to it. I will go and fetch food. You are only repeating these cock and bull stories because I do TikTok. There is nothing wrong with washing plates at night." Her mother shook her head slowly, her lips pressed together in pity. "I just wish and pray your stubbornness and lazy attitude doesn't put you in trouble. If you don't hear with your ears one day, you'll hear with your body. Your body will tell you. You better change now before it's too late," she whispered. But Nolan didn't care to listen. She stood up, dragging her feet into the kitchen. The urge to eat more was stronger than the shame in her mother's voice. By the time she opened the plate rack, she froze. There was no clean plate to use anymore. The family had eaten, and she had also been eating for 5 times non-stop that night. And now she needed to wash one plate to use again. The clock on the wall ticked loudly. It was already past 10 p.m. Her mother's warning came replaying in her head, but she took a deep breath and told herself, "Nothing will happen. Is it not what I do every day? Plate is plate, and washing is washing." She dipped the dirty plate and sponge into the foamy water and began to scrub. Bubbles rose and clung to her hands. But that was the night it happened. At that very moment, out of the corner of her eyes, she noticed something near the dark corner of the kitchen. She turned quickly, and her eyes caught something she never expected she'd see. Her heartbeat jumped. The plate slipped from her hand, falling to the ground with a sharp clatter, and Nolan screamed, a scream that tore through her soul, but it was already too late, and that night she learned a lesson she never expected. Nolan was known in her street for her beauty and the stylish clothes she liked to wear. She was her mother's only daughter, pampered and praised since childhood. But everybody close to her also knew one thing very well. Nolan hated chores. Every evening the same thing happened. Her mother would shout from the kitchen, "Nolan, come and wash these plates." Her grandmother, an old woman with wrinkled face and shaky legs, would add her own warning. "My daughter, stop this your bad habit. You don't do chores early. You will wait until midnight before you wash plates. Don't you know spirits eat from the foam? Don't you know you are feeding them?" But Nolan never took them seriously. Instead of getting up, she lay on her bed, scrolling through TikTok videos, laughing at silly reels on Facebook with earbuds stuffed in her ears. "I will," she always answered. "I will wash it later. I'm busy now." Her friends who visited sometimes teased her. "Nolan, you don't like house chores, oh. Every time we come here, your mother is shouting at you." She would raise her head proudly and laugh. "Please free me." "Leave that thing. It's not by washing plates early. Plates are not running away. If I wash them now or I wash them by midnight, it is still the same plate. So what's the difference?" Her mother grew tired of repeating herself. Every evening was the same fight. Dirty plates piled up in the kitchen after dinner, but Nolan never washed them until the night was deep. Only when sleep was already holding everyone else would she drag herself up to clean them, grumbling and muttering. To her, it was normal. She had done it so long that she didn't see anything wrong. But her grandmother never gave up her warnings. I am telling you, Nolan, washing plates at night washes away the blessings of your food. The spirits will eat it. You will never be satisfied. Haven't you heard the stories? Haven't you seen people that suffered because they ignored tradition? This your stubbornness will lead you nowhere. Nolan laughed whenever she heard that. Mama, please. Spirits that eat soap water. You people should rest. You have watched too much Nollywood. That is the problem. To her, the warnings were old women's tales. She believed nothing could happen. Instead, her laziness and stubbornness only grew. The next evening came with the same chorus. From the kitchen, the clatter of pots and the smell of cooked food floated into the sitting room. Nolan lay on the small sofa with her phone in her hand, laughing at a short video. Her mother wiped her hands on a towel and called out, Nolan, come and wash these plates now, please. Don't keep them till late again. Before Nolan could answer, her grandmother's slow footsteps sounded in the corridor. The old woman leaned on the doorpost and cleared her throat. Nolan, she said in that calm voice that always carried weight, when will you ever listen? Washing at night washes away your food and feeds spirits. It takes your satisfaction. It takes your strength. It takes your peace. How many times do you want this simple caution to be repeated before you adjust? Nolan lowered the volume on her phone and smiled in a teasing way. Mama, spirits? Who eats soap water and scraps? Even dogs don't like that thing. The old woman sighed and shook her head. You think it is a joke? We saw these things before you were born. Some warnings are not story. They are protection. Mama, I hear, Nolan replied, her eyes already back on her phone. I will wash them. Later. Later when? Her mother asked, tired already. It is already past 8. By 9 you will say you are tired. By 10 you will start dragging your feet. Midnight you will now carry sponge like thief. Mummy, I will do it, Nolan said, stretching her legs and smiling. Let me just finish something. 9 o'clock came. The plates were still there. At 10, her mother came again. Her voice was soft this time. Nolan, please, I beg you. Don't make me start again. Okay, I'm coming, she replied, but her eyes did not leave the screen. By 10:30, her grandmother returned to the doorway, a wrapper tied around her shoulders. A child that refuses advice is the owner of her tears, the old woman said. Don't press trouble with your own hand. Mama, please. Nolan stood finally, dragging her slippers along the floor. Let me pee first. She disappeared to the bathroom, came back, drank water slowly, checked a notification, laughed at a new reel, then strolled into the kitchen as if she had all the time in the world. That night she finished washing at almost 11. The next night it was 8:30 again. Another evening a friend came by and they chatted till late. She washed at 9:40. Sometimes she even left a few plates to soak and woke to finish them before bed. Each time the grandmother repeated the same line. Washing at night washes away your food and feeds spirits. Each time Nolan answered with the same mockery. Spirits don't drink soap water, Mama. And so the small habit hardened. The warnings stood at the door like guards, but Nolan walked past them every night with her sponge and bowl. The first sign was so small that it was easy to ignore. One morning, Nolan walked into the kitchen and reached for her favorite white plate, the one with a little blue flower at the edge. A thin crack ran from the rim to the middle like a lightning line. She frowned. Who cracked this plate? She asked. Which plate? Her mother asked, looking up from the stove. This one. Nolan held it up. I don't know, her mother said. I didn't touch it. Maybe it hit something when you washed, her grandmother said simply. I didn't hit anything, Nolan replied, a little defensive. She dropped the plate into the rack and picked another. The next morning, a small saucer was missing. Not in the rack, not on the counter, not in the sink. "Where is that small saucer we use for Pepper?" her mother asked, searching the cupboards. Nolan shrugged. "Maybe you kept it somewhere." "I didn't," her mother said, confused, and just like that, they still let it go. Things misplace themselves sometimes in a busy kitchen. That is normal. They did not speak of it again. 2 days later, Nolan finished washing at 10 and left the plates in the rack to drip. In the morning, she came in to find a wet handprint on the largest tray. The shape was clear, palm, long fingers, watermarks drying in a faint map, but wider and longer than any hand in the house. She looked around slowly. An odd chill crawled up her spine. "Mummy, come and see this thing," she called. Her mother came, wiped her own hand, and placed it on the tray. Her hand looked smaller beside the print. She frowned, then forced a laugh. "Maybe your hand looked big because of the water." "It's not mine," Nolan said, her eyes still on the tray. "It has dried now," the grandmother said when she saw it. "Next time, clean them dry before you sleep." That night, close to midnight, Nolan lay on her bed watching a video with her earpiece in one ear and the other ear free. The house had gone quiet. A soft sound floated from the kitchen, like a cup adjusting on a wet surface. She paused the video and listened. The night held its breath. But then, nothing. She laughed at herself and pressed play. Just then, she heard a very faint whisper. So light it could have been air moving along a crack. The voice whispered, "Thank you." Nolan sat up straight and pulled out the earpiece. "Hello?" she said to the empty room, her heart ticking fast. The corridor remained dark and still. She swallowed hard and lay down again. "It is nothing," she told herself. "Maybe I'm just tired and imagining things." Then morning came again with a missing teaspoon. Later that week, she found the cracked white plate finally broken into two in the rack, as if the line of the crack had finished its journey while no one watched. "That plate again?" her mother murmured, shaking her head. Nolan picked the two pieces and dropped them into the trash. "Well, it's old and useless now anyway," she muttered. But the wet handprints returned. One on the rim of a bowl, one on the side of a pot lid, each time a little longer, a little thinner, as if stretching. And each time, she told herself there had to be a normal reason. Water travels, shapes form, the eye plays tricks. She did not tell her friends. She did not want anyone to laugh that she was scared of little things. Still, that weak whisper did not leave her mind. She started turning up the volume of her videos at night so she would hear nothing else. One night, the generator was off and light refused to return. The house settled into the kind of darkness that makes simple things look strange. The only light in the kitchen came from a small, rechargeable lamp on the counter. Nolan stood at the sink with her bowl of soapy water. She washed 2 plates and set them in the rack. She dipped the third, scrubbing in slow circles, half asleep. From the rack, a plate slid by itself, just a little, like something had nudged it. She looked up. The plate settled. She cleaned her hands on her cloth, walked to the rack, adjusted the plates, and returned to the bowl. But then, another small movement. This time, 2 plates bent as if they were agreeing on a secret. She froze. The sponge rested on the rim of the bowl. Somewhere inside the walls, a light tap, tap, tap began, like knuckles on wood. Not loud, but slow and patient. She forced a laugh. "Rat," she said to the air. "This should be a very big rat." The tap moved from the wall to the floor, then to the cupboard door beneath the sink. Tap, 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 as if someone were counting with a finger. Her throat dried immediately, and a faint whisper escaped lips. "Mummy," she called, not shouting, just like whispering to the empty air. No answer. She washed faster, rinsed, and stacked. From the corridor, soft footsteps crossed the tiles. Not her mother's slow step, not her grandmother's dragging feet. A stranger's sound, controlled even, not in a hurry because night holds all the time. Nolan held her breath. The steps stopped at the kitchen door. She turned her head slowly. The doorway was a picture frame of darkness. Nothing there. Still, her skin prickled as if the doorway was full. She dipped her head again, washing the last bowl. The footsteps entered the kitchen, but she did not see anyone. The bowl trembled in her hands as if something in the water was breathing. She dropped it into the rack and wiped her hands. "Good night," she said to no one, and rushed out, her heart slamming. In her room, she locked the door and sat on the bed, staring at the handle, waiting for it to shake. It did not. She slept with the light on and woke with a headache and a feeling that someone had touched her hair while she slept. Morning brought another quarrel. "Who took the fish from the pot?" her mother demanded, lifting the lid and staring at the thin stew left behind. "I didn't touch it," Nolan said. "Me too," the grandmother added from the doorway. "Yesterday I counted 3, her mother insisted, holding up the spoon. "Now 1 remains." Nolan looked at the floor. Her stomach had been crying all through the night. But she was sure she had not left the bed. She was too afraid to go back to the kitchen after those footsteps. She opened her mouth to defend herself, then closed it again. The words did not fit the truth she felt. That evening, a new thing happened. As she washed, the water in the bowl turned a little cloudy, as if someone had mixed more soap. Nolan paused. A light ring formed on the surface, like a breath upon a mirror. She stepped back quickly and almost slipped. She quickly washed the remaining plates as fast as she could and ran out of the kitchen. Later that night, Nolan's hunger grew into something she had never felt before. She had eaten rice, she had eaten yam, she had eaten rice again. She had even licked from the remaining soup, yet her stomach still cried for more. It felt like an empty hole that no food could fill. She held her belly with both hands and groaned. Her mother shouted from the sitting room, "Nolan, no more food for you tonight. You have eaten enough to feed 3 people. Go and lie down." But Nolan couldn't resist. Her eyes turned towards the kitchen again. "Just 1 more plate," she whispered. "If I eat 1 more, maybe I will finally be satisfied." I don't know what I'd happening to my stomach. "Didn't I tell you?" Her mother's face was furious. "I told you to stop washing plates at night. Now see what you've brought upon yourself." "Mummy, please, let me hear word," Nolan exploded. "All these superstitious beliefs again." "I am just hungry like a normal person. There's nothing more to it. I will go and fetch food. You are only repeating these cock and bull stories because I do TikTok. There is nothing wrong with washing plates at night." She dragged her legs to the kitchen. The whole house was silent. The wall clock showed it was 10 p.m., almost midnight. She lit a small lamp and placed it near the sink. The shadows of the flame danced on the wall. She opened the cupboard. All the plates were dirty again. Everyone had all used it for dinner, including herself. Nolan sighed. At least she needed to wash 1 plate so she could eat. Her stomach groaned louder, like an animal growling. She poured water into the basin, dropped soap, and dipped the sponge. She picked 1 dirty plate and began scrubbing. The foam rose. The sound of sponge against plate echoed too loudly in the stillness of midnight. Swish, swish, swish. And that was the moment it happened. Suddenly, out of the corner of her eyes, she noticed something near the dark corner of the kitchen. She looked quickly and her eyes caught something she never expected she'd see. A shadowy figure. It blinked, then vanished. Nolan's heart thundered. Again, before she could figure it out, she heard something behind her, a low breath. It was slow and heavy. Nolan froze. She turned her head quickly, but nothing was there. Her hand shook. The sponge slipped from her fingers into the soapy water. Then came the voice. "Give us more." Nolan gasped and dropped the plate into the basin. The water splashed on her. She looked around in panic. The shadows on the wall reappeared and stretched longer now. They no longer looked like simple shadows. They looked like figures, tall, thin, bending over the sink. "Who is there?" she whispered, her throat dry. The lamp flickered violently. The foam in the basin began to move on its own, swirling in circles. Then came another whisper, louder this time. "Give us more." The figures leaned closer to the sink. Their forms shifted like smoke. Their eyes glowed faintly like dying coal. The dirty plates began to clatter one by one as if invisible hands were touching them. Clink, clink, clink. At that moment, Nolan screamed. She stepped back quickly, knocking down the lamp. The kitchen became darker, only the moonlight from the window shining faintly. The water splashed to the floor. Plates rolled and crashed. She covered her mouth with both hands, trembling from head to toe. The voices filled the room again, this time echoing in unison. "Give us more!" Nolan ran out of the kitchen with tears in her eyes. She slammed the door and collapsed in the sitting room, shaking uncontrollably. From that midnight encounter, nothing remained the same in Nolan's house. The very next day, her mother went to her shop to sell goods as usual. But when she opened the store, she gasped. A whole carton of noodles was gone. Half of the rice bag had vanished. She looked around in confusion. The locks were intact. The door was not broken. Who could have taken it? She came home shaking her head. "My goods are disappearing. I don't know how. I left everything yesterday. I locked the store. But now things are missing. What is happening?" But that was only the beginning. Every night after that, Nolan heard noises in the kitchen. Plates tapping together, water dripping when no one had fetched water. At times, when she woke up late to drink water, she saw that food left in the pot had reduced mysteriously. At first, she thought maybe her younger brother had sneaked in to eat, but when she asked them, they swore they hadn't touched it. Soon, neighbors began to talk. They whispered among themselves. "That girl is feeding spirits. Haven't you heard the sounds from their house at night?" Another voice said, "That is why her mother's goods are vanishing. The spirits are eating from her hand." The gossip spread across the street. Some neighbors stopped visiting. Many even avoided them in public, and others laughed. Her mother's face grew heavy with shame. She sat outside one afternoon, holding her chin in her palm, shaking her head. "Ah, Nolan, you have brought disgrace to us. See how people are laughing at us. See how my business is collapsing." But Nolan was suffering more than anyone. Her hunger never stopped. Morning to night, she ate. Plates of rice, yam, beans, gari. She ate them all. Yet after swallowing, her stomach still felt empty, like she had eaten nothing. She began to lose weight instead of gaining. Her eyes sunk. Her cheeks became hollow. Every night she had nightmares. Dark figures stood by her bed whispering, "Give us more. Give us more." She woke up sweating, her heart pounding. She begged for water. She begged for food. But no matter how much she ate, her stomach still rumbled with hunger. "Didn't I warn you?" her grandmother asked, looking at her with sorrow. "Spirits that are fed do not leave easily. You have invited them. Now they are eating through you." Nolan broke down crying. She knew she could not continue like that. Then came one evening after another day of endless eating. Nolan collapsed in the sitting room. She clutched her stomach and cried, "Mommy, Mama, please help me. I can't take it anymore. Please do something before I die." Her mother wiped her tears. "We told you, didn't we? But you refused to listen. What do you want us to do now?" Her grandmother spoke slowly and with wisdom. "There is only one person left that we can take her to. Elder Nagu. He is the only one who knows how to cleanse such a thing." That night, the three of them went to Elder Nagu's compound. He was an old man with white beard. His compound smelled of herbs and old smoke. He sat on a low stool, chewing bitter cola. His eyes were calm but sharp. When he saw Nolan, he shook his head. The stubborn child. You have fed them too long. Now they are feeding on you." Nolan knelt before him, crying, "Baba, please help me. I didn't know. I thought it was nothing. Please don't let me die like this." The elder nodded slowly. "You broke a taboo. Washing plates at night is not just about cleaning. It is about food. When you wash, the spirits take the scraps, the water, the foam. They see it as feeding. Once they start eating, they don't stop. They will demand more and more until they finish you." Nolan's tears fell onto the ground. She cried bitterly, remembering all the warnings that she had ignored. The elder took a deep breath and spoke. "There is still hope, but it will require humility and sacrifice. You must do cleansing. You must make an offering. You must vow never to wash plates at night again." He listed the items needed: palm oil, kola nut, white cloth, and a calabash of fresh water. He said a chicken must be offered as a sign of separation. Nolan trembled as she listened. Her mother squeezed her hand. "My daughter, we must do this. There is no other way." Her grandmother nodded. "Yes, if you want peace again, you must humble yourself and follow the instructions." For the first time in her life, Nolan bowed her head fully. "I will do it," she whispered finally. "I don't care what it takes. I will never wash plates at night again. Just help me be free." The elder nodded. "Good. Tomorrow we begin." And that was how Nolan's path to redemption started. The very next morning, Nolan and her mother returned to Elder Nagu's compound with all the items he had requested: the palm oil, the kola nuts, the white cloth, the fresh calabash of water, and the chicken tied gently with rope. Elder Nagu was waiting for them. His compound was quiet, filled with the smell of herbs and burning incense. He took the items one by one, nodding. "Good. You have brought them all. Now we begin." Nolan knelt down as the elder spread the white cloth on the ground. He placed the calabash of water before her. He rubbed palm oil on her forehead, her palms, and her feet. As he chanted softly, the air around them grew heavy, almost as if unseen eyes were watching. "Spirits that eat what does not belong to them," the elder intoned. "Take your hands off this child. She has fed you unknowingly, but no more. From today, she belongs to the living, not the dead." Nolan trembled as the elder sprinkled the calabash water on her head and chest. He broke the kola nut, dropped pieces into the fire, and the smoke rose into the sky. Finally, he took the chicken, prayed over it, and made the offering at the chosen ground. When it ended, Elder Nagu looked at Nolan, then spoke. "It is done. But hear me, Nolan. You must never wash plates at night again. You must do your chores early. Laziness is the road that led you here. Discipline is the road that will keep you safe. Do you understand?" Nolan nodded quickly. Tears streamed down her face. "Yes, Baba. I understand. I will never repeat it again," he whispered. That night, something strange happened in her house. For the first time in weeks, the kitchen was silent. No rattling of plates, no whispers in the dark, no footsteps tapping. When Nolan lay down to sleep, her stomach was calm. She woke up in the morning without hunger tearing her apart. She was surprised. Her mother noticed immediately and asked, "Nolan, you slept calmly through the night, right? How do you feel?" Nolan smiled weakly. "Yes, Mommy, I am fine. I am not hungry." I also didn't hear the voices. Her grandmother, who had been praying silently in her corner, lifted her hands and gave thanks. "The spirits have left. Praise be to God. Our child is free." Nolan smiled. Though she was a bit happy, but she wasn't convinced. When she had been the victim, she knew how it felt. She told herself she would wait for another night to confirm that her healing had truly happened. Again, the night came, and she lay on her bed waiting for the hunger pangs to see if it would return. But minutes passed. An hour passed. She closed her eyes, and for the second time in many weeks, she also slept peacefully throughout the night. No more nightmares, no more whispers, no more shadows bending over her. When she woke up, she also touched her stomach in fear. It was calm. There was no rumbling, no empty, gnawing hunger. This moment, she cried tears of joy and ran to her mother, hugging her tightly as if she should never let go again. Her mother hugged her tightly, laughing through her own tears, grateful for the total cleansing and deliverance upon her daughter. From that day, Nolan changed completely. She no longer delayed chores. She would wash dirty plates early in the evening or sometimes before dinner. And after eating, she'll clear the table and put everything in order while her mother and grandmother watched in quiet surprise. Her grandmother smiled one evening as Nolan scrubbed the last spoon. "Now you are learning," she teased. "That's granddaughter. A woman who cannot manage small things will never manage big things. You have learnt your lesson the hard way, but thank God you learnt." Nolan nodded, her face humble. "Mama, I saw Pepper. I don't think I will ever go back to those stubbornness. Never again." And her grandmother let out a small smile. Even Nolan's phone use also changed. The endless hours on TikTok and Facebook stopped. She still used her phone, but only after she had finished all her duties. No more lazy scrolling while plates piled in the kitchen. Her mother's shop also began to recover. No more missing cartons, no more vanishing rice. Every day she checked the goods, and they remained intact. Customers who had once stopped coming slowly returned, and the business grew again. The sorrow lines on her mother's forehead disappeared, replaced with a smile. The neighbors who once mocked Nolan noticed the difference. The gossip stopped. Women at the market who used to laugh now said, "Have you seen Nolan? She has changed. She is hardworking now." Even those who had once mocked them now greeted with respect. Her friends who used to tease her about laziness were shocked when they visited and saw her washing plates early without being told. Even Nolan's walk changed. She no longer carried her shoulders high with pride. Instead, she moved quietly, humbly, knowing how close she had come to destruction. Each time she passed the kitchen at night, she remembered that night of whispers. She remembered the shadowy figures saying, "Give us more." She shivered, shook her head, and turned away. Never again. Moral of this story: friends, some things we laugh at may hide wisdom. What seems like old people's superstition may carry truth inside it. Laziness tempted Nolan, and her stubbornness opened the door to spirits. She paid the price until she humbled herself and sought help. Respect tradition. Obey wisdom. Because even what seems small can be powerful. Did you enjoy this story? Have you ever heard about this belief before? In your own community, what do people say happens if you wash plates at night? And what other traditions or superstitions have you been told while growing up? Share them with us in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to African Tales by Emma, where we bring you stories, lessons, and culture that not only teaches, but inspires. Until next time, bye guys.